Do you feel stuck? Are you subconsciously searching for reasons why ideas of success won't work for you instead of figuring out a way to make great things happen in your life? Are you ready to raise the bar in your own life and change your mindset? If so, today's Coffee and Confidence show is for you. Welcome to episode 16 of the Coffee and Confidence. My name is Kelly Kerrigan, and I am your host today. I am an assertiveness coach, and my business is Empower Me Coaching. I am empowering people pleasers worldwide to calm the chaos in their life and start living life on their terms to create more balance. You see, I'm a recovering people pleaser. So I've been in your shoes and I've gone through the work, and I'm now working with people to change their mindset to create amazing things in their life. I'm really excited to introduce today's guest to you. Today's topic is the power of belief, because mindset is so important. So without further ado, I want to introduce to you today's guest, Whitley Theriault. And Whitley is the founder of SCIPLE. Now, SCIPLE is a women's community network, and she's a speaker, and she is a female empowerer, right? Like, own that. She has an incredible story of how she turned her life around. So I know that when she was in high school, well, she was a high school dropout. She was a young mother, and she found her inner strength to turn her life around. So I'm so excited. Whitley, welcome to have you on board to share your story and share your wisdom and your knowledge with everybody today. So thank you for being here.
Thank you so much, Kelly.
Yeah. So please, I shared a little bit about you. So please share a little bit more about yourself.
Well, you did well. So my name is Whitley, and I am the founder of SCIPLE, which is a network for women who want to share their message with the world while building a business in life that they love. So that is basically where my passion is. I also run a party business called Party Makers, and I am a mom of two. And I'm actually on a mission right now to speak and inspire as many women as I possibly can about the power of belief. So I'm going to share a little bit about my story today with all of you, and kind of give you guys an idea of where my passion is and where it stems from, and why I do what I do, and how the power of belief has actually really drastically changed my life, and hopefully share some techniques with you closer to the end on how it can help you with your power of belief.
That's amazing. Yeah, thank you so much. So before we get started, this is the Coffee and Confidence show. So of course it is time for dun dun dun. What is in your cup? My fabulous drawing here, my coffee cup. So
I love it.
I'm really quite proud of myself, because this power of belief, I have this negative mindset of like, yeah, I'm really not creative in my drawing. I'm creative in other ways. So I was quite proud of myself to draw that. So here's my cup today. I am drinking an Italian roast with some cream and some palm sugar. Other than coffee, what's in my cup? There's gratitude in my cup. I am so grateful for all the beautiful people that has come into my life, and for connection. So that's what's in my cup this morning. Whitley, what's in your cup?
Well, my cup is not as fancy as yours, Kelly, but I actually I have some Tim Hortons coffee in my cup. So that's what I have in my cup. And I also have to say I have a little bit of gratitude in my cup as well, and love for all of the blessings and people in my life. So that is what is in my cup today.
Oh, that's amazing. So I just want to take a moment and remind the viewers out there, whether you are watching live or catching the replay, you can always leave your comments, ask your questions. The more questions and comments we get, the more interactive it is, the more value you will get from today's episode. So I see we have a few people online. If you're here, please, give us a like, give us a hello, let us know you're watching. All right. So now that is done, the what's in your cup. So this topic, the power of belief, right? Mm-hmm. So the first question I want to ask you is, what shapes a person's belief?
That is a great question. Now, Kelly, would you mind if I shared a little bit about my story before I dive into answering that question for you?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay,
Yes, please go ahead.
perfect. And to kind of add on to what Kelly was saying in terms of in joining in the conversation. Now, I'm all about conversation, and I would love, love, love to hear whatever questions you guys have, or just to join in the conversation, right? So I'm all about engaging and having a dialogue. So please, if you have any questions, even if you're catching the replay, drop them in the comments. But before I go into this, I would like to share a little bit of a story with you guys. Now, I'm going back into 2010. I was 19 years old at the time, and the love of my life and our beautiful daughter were about to embark on an incredible journey to a big city. So we packed everything up. We said our goodbyes to our family, our friends, and our small town. And we made our way to Toronto, Ontario. There were a lot of changes that had occurred in my life over those last few years, but this one was different. It was really big for me because it was a change for opportunity, self-renewal, and hope. And a lot of things had happened over those last few years. So, this change, this opportunity seemed like the future was looking brighter. And so we were living in Toronto, Ontario for about a few months, and Christmas was just around the corner. And I was ecstatic that my younger sister was coming out for the holidays to visit with us. It was Christmas time, and I was really missing home. And so I remember when my sister came to our little bachelor apartment, and I remember our 2-year-old daughter. She was just so excited, and you would have thought that it was Santa Claus who came through the door. She was just like jumping for joy for her auntie. And so we just spent every moment together, just catching up and enjoying each other's company. And for the first time in such a long time, I felt joy, And one evening we were talking and laughing and kind of just reminiscing on old memories. And I remember glancing over to seeing my daughter's father take the last bit of money from my purse. And I remember saying nothing, and he looked to me to tell me that he was going out and he would be back later. And I had nodded. And I actually felt a bit of relief just knowing that he was leaving the apartment. And we continued on, my sister and I and our daughter and my little girl, and we continued on for the rest of the evening, and we just enjoyed the rest of the night. And later that evening, I was awoken by the sound of yelling outside our front door. And hearing that, I knew that he was drunk and he was high again. And I just remembered feeling so paralyzed with fear and thinking to myself, no, not tonight, not again. But I just, somewheres inside myself, Kelly, I felt I got the strength, I got the courage to pick up my phone. And I remember just the adrenaline going through my entire body in those moments as I was on my phone with the 911 dispatcher.
Oh, wow.
And in those moments, I just sat there beside this little bathroom sink in our little bachelor apartment, thinking to myself, how did I end up here? What happened? What happened to that young, vibrant, joyful Whitley I once knew? Mm-hmm. And in those moments, I felt really, really lost, and I felt stuck, and I lost who I was. I forgot how to live. I forgot what normal was like. And I just remembered asking myself these questions, and it just felt like hours had gone by. And by this time, he had the door smashed in, and he was now in the apartment. And two things happened that night. I let go of a very abusive and toxic relationship. But more importantly, I let go of that lost person who held on to it for far too long. And in those moments, Kelly, so many things happened that night, and I I promised myself that I would make better choices, that I would be a better person, and I would live a life that was worth living for my daughter and I. And that was the night that my whole entire life changed. And I share this story, and I know that sometimes, when I share this, it's so open, it's so raw, and, I share some deep, deep things. But I feel that it is so important to share these moments and that piece of who I was, because it has built me to where I am today.
Mm-hmm.
And back in those days, Kelly, when I talk about the power of belief, I really didn't have much belief in anything. I didn't have much belief in myself. I didn't have much belief in, what was possible. And I didn't really have much belief in God, or if there was more out there. And so after I had gone through and literally hit rock bottom at the age of 19, and it's so young, but after hitting that rock bottom part in my life, and then, getting back up and feeling like there's more to live for and that there's more to life, that literally was the transitioning point to where I started to take away the limiting beliefs that I once had and replace them with beliefs that were more empowering, more positive, and more self-serving in a way where I could have impact in the world and live a life fulfillingly and happily. And so I share my story because I think it's a very important piece to talk about when I'm talking about all of these other things and empowerment and mindset and things like that.
Yeah.
So going back to your question about the power of belief. I'm so sorry. What was the question?
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Thank you so much for sharing that story. Like, it is, it is really powerful to share that story. And, are you, although that moment was tough, like looking back, are you thankful for that moment?
I'm thankful for everything that's ever happened to me, both the good and the bad, because the bad always builds character inside of us. It builds strength, and it gives us a new perception on life to move forward and to be able to grow into the person we're meant to be. So yes, absolutely. I mean, just like I share openly with everybody, before the age of 16, I was a high school dropout. I was a young mom, and I was in an abusive relationship with a man who was 13 years older than me. Everyone in my neighborhood, I shouldn't say everyone, but most people in my neighborhood growing up were either doing drugs, selling drugs, or in jail because of drugs. And statistically, I should have been in one of those three given my circumstances. But, there's something that is far more powerful than a statistic, greater than our fears, and the sum of all of our actions. And that truly is the power of belief. That's what it boils down to, is what are you thinking? What kind of conversations are you having with yourself upstairs, right? And so not everybody is born with, positive beliefs, or being able to believe in themselves, or go after things, or to pick themselves up after they've gone through something. But what I do know is that you can change your beliefs.
Yeah, absolutely. So that leads right into the question: what shapes a person's belief?
What shapes a person's belief? Okay, so I have a couple of things from my own experience. What shapes a person's belief, I believe, would be the people who are around you. Oftentimes, I think other people's beliefs get passed on to you, your friends, particularly your family, and also your environment. So your environment, outer influences like media, social media, society. I think everything that we are exposed to shape our beliefs. But there's a powerful thing about that, is that you don't have to necessarily keep those beliefs. As we grow up, there's things that we may believe, like some people might think, I can't ever be rich.
Mm-hmm.
because they've grown up with the mentality or the mindset of other people saying, oh, we'll never be rich. Rich people are only lucky, or rich people are greedy or corrupt. And so that is like a limiting belief. That's a belief that someone has adapted from growing up and being exposed to outer influences. But you can change those. See, I never really knew that you could change those beliefs that were embedded in you from
Uh-huh.
a small age. But the thing is, you can. And it is like, I get so excited about this stuff because all
Yeah.
mindset, and because I remember being there. I remember feeling like I had no belief in myself. I remember not having that confidence. I remember being too shy to speak up. Like, I remember being in that place. And so over the years of learning and meeting people that I've just been able to learn in my journey has really opened my eyes to knowing that you are truly the driver of your vehicle, and you
Mm-hmm.
can do and achieve anything. And it literally comes down to your beliefs.
Right. That's amazing. Thank you for sharing all that. I want to take a moment and acknowledge some comments coming in. So we
Yes.
have Stephanie Jennings. She says, good morning, ladies. Good morning, Stephanie. Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode. Glad to have you here. If you have any questions, please, let us know. And we have Christina Rose. She says, morning, smiley face. Morning, Christina. So yeah, that's a big thing, is that, our mindset can be changed. But it's so true. Like, so many people grow up in their environment, and what they experience becomes their normal, right? And they just don't know until they know, right? Like, they don't know that their mindset can be changed. They don't know that there's anything wrong with the way they're thinking. They don't know that, the messages that they tell themselves is actually preventing them from moving forward, right? Now,
Right.
in like 2018, there is so much more awareness, right? Like, well, I say in my world, okay? I can't speak for everybody, I'm sure, because in my world, I'm surrounding myself with all these messages, and there's so much information. There's so many people out there spreading this beautiful message as you're doing. So yeah, people don't know until they're exposed to it, until their belief system is challenged, right?
It's so true. You think of your minds as almost like an untrained pet. If you allow your pet to destruct and destroy your things, well, they're gonna destruct and destroy your things because they don't know any different.
Mm-hmm.
So our minds are no different. If we are, thinking negative and disempowering thoughts, well, that's all we're going to think about because we don't really know any different. But if we begin to train our minds to think of more positive and empowering thoughts, and to begin changing those beliefs, well, then our minds can start to shift into new habits, more fulfilling habits.
Absolutely. So Stephanie's saying, I love this topic. Belief is everything. Yes, it is, Stephanie.
Yes.
And I know Stephanie, she is living this as well. She's created some amazing things in her life. So that is so true. So there's like a word, like it's called self-limiting belief.
Mm-hmm.
Self-limiting belief. So for the viewers who are unaware out there, what a self-limiting belief is, can you just do like a quick explanation of that?
I sure can. And this isn't like a Merriam dictionary meaning, but I guess I'll take it from my own.
Yes.
So a self-limiting belief, and I know this all too well because I've been there. A self-limiting belief is something that a person believes to be true that is holding them back from any success, happiness, or some type of fulfillment. So if I could give you guys an example, I remember when I wanted to start up the SCIPLE network, and back then I didn't know it was going to be the SCIPLE network. I just knew I wanted to create a platform, a place where women could come together and they could support each other and grow alongside each other.
Mm-hmm.
I had no idea how to do it, But I had this limiting belief that I had to be successful. I had to have more experience. I had to know more people. I had to do something great in order for me to start some type of network up where women would want to be a part of. And so that was a limiting belief that I had for myself that prevented me from starting up this wonderful network for so long. And then eventually I just remembered just one day thinking to myself, you know what, Whitley, it's either now or never. And the worst thing that could happen is that it doesn't work out, but at least you'll know because you tried, right? And so I remember just putting it out there, and I got so much feedback and so much response and interest. And I mean, fast forward 3 years later, I have built an amazing network for women who support each other and who work together and learn from one another. And I have learned so much. This has literally opened up a whole other path for me to finding my purpose and my passion. And it literally, I couldn't even imagine not ever doing that. So that is just a small example of a self-limiting belief. Mm-hmm. And there's tons more out there.
Exactly. So what I'm hearing is that a self-limiting belief, it really keeps a person stuck in their old patterns.
Mm-hmm. Right? Yeah, absolutely.
What is that saying? It's like the sign of insanity when you keep doing the same thing and expecting a different result.
Right. So true.
Right. So you really do have to change your mindset. You do have to start thinking of it differently. Like something like super simple with myself. Like for years and years and years, I told myself that I can't sing. Like I learned to play the guitar when I was in grade 6. So I was like 11 years old. And I would sing, but I would tell my friends to turn around, don't look at me. And then when I would sing, and I would just make like a goof of myself, right? But that was my limiting belief. I was telling myself that I can't sing. I have like a beautiful music ability, but I'm like, voice is not one of them. Then I started doing it really the last like 3 years. And now I'm like, oh my gosh, my voice is so powerful. Like it brings myself to tears. Like, so, it's just discovering, and it's the taking action, and it's just squashing that belief, right? So for the people out there that's feeling stuck, this is like a very key piece to getting unstuck.
Right. I love it. I love that. And I love that you shared that, because I think I can relate to that with the whole singing thing. Yeah. But good for you. Like, and you're right. There's so many different limiting beliefs that like hold us back from our truest pleasures in life, right? And so.
Yeah, that's amazing. All right, so we have a few more comments that I'm going to acknowledge here, Whitley. So John Thompson says, good morning. Good morning, John. Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode. And Christina says, I used to be that person and recently started doing crafts, paintings, etc. And I'm actually putting myself out there next month and going to Rhoda's. So I know what Rhoda's is. So Rhoda's is a big like craft market, like around Christmas time. She's like, scary as hell, but I believe in me and my art and want to share that. Yes. Thank you so much for sharing that, Christina. Like it's so important to get out there. Just start doing it. And once you get that momentum and you're out at Rhoda's and people are like commenting and really drawn to your art, that's just going to fuel you, right? That's going to fuel the momentum to keep going. Yeah, that's amazing.
That's amazing, Christina. And you know what? In the beginning, it's always scary in the beginning, but I promise you this, it gets easier. It gets easier each time, every time that you do it and you move forward, take action toward whatever it is that you desire.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Sadhana says, hello. Thank you so much. And she also says, it's awesome that both of you out there are as an example for people who are stuck in action. Right. So many people out there are stuck in action, right? Like the name of the show is the Coffee and Confidence Show. And so many people that I work with have said stuff like, well, I need to be confident before I do this, right? So I need to be, like, for instance, let's just use Christina's example, right? So maybe she was thinking, I need to be confident before I can put myself out there and go to Rhoda's. Well, no, by putting yourself in action builds the confidence, it builds the habits. And you know what, like, you need to just start doing it. So yeah.
Absolutely. Love that.
And Christina says, thanks, ladies. I appreciate your support. Yeah, Christina, you go, girl. So now there's a concept that I have learned many years ago. I'm not sure, I'm going to ask if you're familiar with it, but it's the difference. There's a difference between reality and perception of reality. Do you know the difference between that?
That's a tricky one. Reality and perception, the difference between. So when it comes, at the end of the day, we all have a completely different perception. And a perception is just basically how we perceive everything around us. And so like how we perceive the world is completely different from the person next to us. And how you perceive the world from me, Kelly, is going to be completely different from my perception. And so that, for me, I think, is what is reality then? If everybody has a different perception, what is reality? And so I think that's a really complex type of question, in my opinion, because then you kind of get down into the nitty gritty of like everybody's paradigms and how they perceive things. And so I do believe that reality is almost a mirror image of what we are seeing. And if we go even deeper, reality is quite simple. And so if I can explain this in the least complicating way, I think that reality is just a makeup of where we are as physical beings. And it's about basically living in a world where we are constantly learning, we're constantly growing, we're constantly moving forward and fulfilling that highest expression of ourselves. But at the same time, being present in the moment and enjoying life as it is in the now, not in the future when you're successful or when you have so much money in the bank account, not dwelling on the past and what's already happened, but living soulfully in the present moment and being grateful and being a kind and good person. I believe that is really what reality is. And it's pretty simple when you think about it. But at the end of the day, everybody perceives everything completely different. So perception and reality is, that's a really complex one. I could get into some deep things with that, Kelly. Yeah. I could go on a whole other topic, girl.
Yeah, as you were speaking, I came up with a memory that I had like a few years ago. Just kind of explain it and put in perspective a little bit. So I was at a wedding, right? Like a wedding. And somebody made a comment like, oh my gosh, I can't believe like how people were not dressed up for the wedding. And I was like, really? I was too busy looking at all the beautiful people and all the unique outfits. Right? So that's perception, for instance, right? So the other person perception was everybody was dressed down, like nobody dressed up for this nice wedding. And my perception was, I just saw all the beautiful dresses and the glamour and the shimmer. But the reality is we were both at a wedding and everybody was wearing clothes. Right.
Just, I mean, exactly. And like I was saying, like everybody's perception is completely different, but sometimes we even get stuck in our own heads, assuming what everyone else's perception is, but really it's just us and how we're thinking and seeing something as. Yeah. I know. The interesting topic, right?
I wanted to touch on that because like I feel it's really prevalent to this power of belief and the mindset and what people are thinking. All right. So we have some more comments that I want to acknowledge here. A few minutes ago, Stephanie says, action is the impetus to confidence for sure. Yes. Sadhana says one step at a time, right? You can just take baby steps and then eventually you will get to where you want to go, right? If it's confidence, you're going to get there. Sadhana says yes. Can't quite remember what she said yes to, but thank you for supporting us. And reality and perception of it. Yeah, I get it. So, because it's our upbringing and our value system. I would think that, that shapes our belief system for sure. So yeah, that's really great. So I know that, you were going to share with some people, with the viewers today, how they can raise the bar in their own life, and they can start shaping their power of belief so that they can start raising their standards and getting some results that they really want in their life.
Right. Okay, so a half an hour goes by fast, Kelly.
Doesn't it?
It does. I feel like I had so much stuff prepared to share, and I'm like, I'm not even getting through half of it. So, okay, I'm going to try to get through this and share with you guys.
Well, hold on.
Yes.
If you've got some things that you really want to share, by all means, go ahead. Like I don't want to cut you off. If there's some things that you want to share, please. The stage is yours, my friend.
Perfect. Thank you, Kelly. I appreciate that. Is everybody okay with that? Can you pop a yes into the comments if you're okay with that? Okay, so, and again, I know that my time with you guys is a little bit limited, but I really, really love to share a technique with you that's really, like, drastically helped me with the power of my belief. Okay, so would that be okay if you want to just pop in the comments and let me know? Also, guys, if you guys have any questions that kind of pop up as I'm speaking through about this, please feel free to drop them in the comments, and I can always go in later and answer your questions as well. Okay, so if you don't have a pen and a piece of paper already, I encourage you guys to have a piece of paper and a pen. Okay, so I want you to write this down. Your thoughts lead to your feelings lead to your actions, and your actions lead to your results. Now, that result could be good, that result can be bad. It's going to stem from what you're thinking. What you're thinking is going to bring a feeling, and whatever you're feeling strongly is how you're going to act, okay? And your actions always produce your results. So I want you to write that down. I want you to remember this. Just a quick question. So, if you're thinking and you're feeling stressed and overwhelmed, have you ever noticed that, like, more stress and more overwhelming, like, people, situations seem to come your way? I know I have. Again and again. So there's no coincidence with that. And with this being said, though, your beliefs can actually be changed. Even though it seems like that's impossible, it really isn't, okay? It simply starts with changing your thoughts, okay? So changing your thoughts, changing the conversation that you're having with the one upstairs is really going to determine your beliefs, okay? So now when changing your beliefs, it can happen in an instant, because when you decide, it's really as quick as that, okay? But seeing the results of changing your belief, it doesn't happen overnight, okay? That's the part that's going to take some time, and that's the part that's going to cost you, okay? So I want to talk a little bit about this before I jump into my technique with you guys. So this part of changing your belief and continuously doing it, it's going to really require you to dig up your soil, okay? It's going to require you to rip out those old roots and begin planting new seeds, okay? If you guys are with me, true, pop into the comments, true. And once you plant them, though, it's going to require your daily attention, okay? So you're going to have to give it daily care, daily attention, daily nurturing, daily love, and daily patience, okay? And one day, I promise you, that beautiful rose bush that you've been planting and putting all your time and effort in is going to boast beautiful and majestic roses. And the markings on your hands, the markings on your arms, maybe the markings on the scuffs on your legs and maybe your feet are merely just a reminder of the thorns that you had to deal with while nurturing that rose bush, okay? And so when I set out to change my environment, when I set out to, found a women's network and start a business, to go to college as a single mother, when I did all of these things, I had no idea where it was going to lead me. I was terrified in the beginning. And I remember thinking, I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to do this. And I remember not really knowing too many people inside my social circle at the time who were doing these things. And so I felt completely alone. But my thinking of these things as goals, I thought of them as goals. And thinking of my goal created a feeling. And that feeling was so strong when I would think about accomplishing these goals, whatever it was that I was doing. And that feeling lit a fire under my bottom that put me into action. And I went into action, and I became obsessed with accomplishing this. And the action, even if it was small or sometimes it was big, it brought me from here to here, moved me along, and I kept progressing and I kept growing. And I didn't get caught up on the time or how long it would take me to accomplish these goals, both small and big. I didn't get hung up on the time, but I just truly believed that eventually one day it was going to happen. And I just kept taking the action that would move me forward. And let me tell you guys, when you go from being a shy, quiet, insecure, not very confident type of being, and you put yourself far outside your comfort zone, and you are now networking in events and having to go up to strangers and talk to them, or when you are going from being a high school dropout and then you're back in the classroom at 19 years old with a bunch of younger kids after being a young mom, these things are going to be uncomfortable. And, when you start up a networking group for women, and in the beginning, it's just you and your mom sitting at the coffee shop because no one else showed up. These things are painful. These things are hard at times, but you keep going, you keep growing. And now, the last time that we had a connection night with the Women's Network, we had to actually think about moving it to a new location because it was getting so packed. So if you're continuously growing, you're continuously believing, you're continuously thinking, empowering, positive thoughts, and more importantly as well, surrounding yourself around positive people, things that are going to empower you, inspire you, and support you. Those are all super, super important. Mm-hmm. But the one technique that I really want to share, I know there's so many different things that I do that's helped me, but to really narrow it down, Kelly, and for all of you, the one technique that's really helped me and the power of my own belief in switching it to be better is visualization. Now, what is visualization?
Yeah.
Visualization is a practice of taking yourself to a place mentally where you visualize whatever it is that you desire. So you're not only thinking about it, but you feel it too. So if you have a goal, whether it's a goal to lose weight, a goal to quit smoking, a goal to start a business, you spend some time, you take some time, you can close your eyes or you can keep your eyes open, but you visualize it. You visualize that goal and you visualize you already making it happen. And you feel those feelings. You feel the feelings of joy. You feel the feelings of, inspiration or positivity or whatever it is. But you think of it as though it has already happened. And you're looking into the future and you're seeing it. And you feel all the feels that come with it. And I never knew that my whole life I've been doing this, and I had no idea that if this was a thing, but clearly it is. With everything that I've ever accomplished in my life, I actually had to go back to visualization. It was me visualizing obtaining one of the goals that I had in mind, mm-hmm. and thinking about it over and over and practicing that visualization that has helped me get what it is that I desired. And some of these things took a week, some of these things took months, and some of these things took years, okay? So it's something that is going to take time. You can't put a time frame on it, if you will. And so by practicing visualization can actually help you get to your goal. And I don't want to say much faster, but actually help you get to your goal in a way where it's going to push you forward in a path of least resistance. Okay, so I am going to invite anybody who is still watching or catching the replay, if you're interested in taking this visualization technique and applying it to something of your own, you might want to write this down, or you can come back and rewatch this part. But I'm going to give you 5 steps that I have used that's helped me. And sometimes when you're doing this, it can take longer. But what I've done, just to kind of help you guys see quick results in a shorter amount of time, I am going to invite you to think of a micro goal that you want to set for yourself for the next 7 days. A micro goal. Just a teeny tiny goal. So it could be a goal of maybe you want to get 25 people to sign up for your email list, or maybe you want to have more energy, just more energy, or maybe you want to, trying to think here, I'm stuck on the spot here. something small, guys, something small that can be attainable over the next 7 days. Okay. And so, and again, you can apply this to any other goal. So if you have a big goal, you can apply this to it, but it's going to take you longer. Okay. All right. So the first step, guys, what I want you to do is write down your goal as specific as possible. Okay. Very, very clear and concise what you want your goal to be. Okay. That's your first step. The second step is going to be, I want you to have your goal, post it in 1 to 3 areas of where you spend your most time. So it could be at your house, it could be in your office, your car, you could put it on your cell phone, okay? So you can use sticky notes, you can use a screensaver, piece of paper, whatever. I like to have things posted on my big whiteboard in my office. I like to have things posted on my phone or even on a mirror, okay? So have your goal posted in 1 to 3 areas of your space. So third step, okay? Third step is every day when you get up out of bed and before you go to bed, I want you to spend 5 to 10 minutes visualizing you accomplishing your goal. So whatever it is that you want to accomplish, I want you to just spend 5 to 10 minutes in your quiet space. And I just want you to think about your goal and when you accomplish your goal and what it looks like and what it feels like. I want you to feel all those feelings, okay? And then the next step, I want you to give thanks for it. I want you to thank whoever it is, whether it be God, the universe, whatever. Just put out a thank you, okay, for already being done. I just want you to give thanks for already making it happen. And then the last step, which is the most important step, and none of this will happen if you don't take this last step. It is, can you guess what it is? Drum roll. Action! Thank you, Kelly. You gotta take action, guys. I'm going to be completely honest with you. If you do this every day, something's gonna happen and you're gonna think, oh my goodness, this is a coincidence, this is crazy. It is not, okay? Some opportunities and possibilities are going to come your way. And what I need you to do is take action. No matter how afraid you are, no matter how uncomfortable you are, you have to take action. Okay? Nothing will ever come to you without taking action. You can visualize things all you want, but if you're not taking action, it's not going to happen. Okay? So when you feel that fear, I want you to think of fear as your friend, your guide, because anytime that you feel fear, you know that you're growing. You know that you're about to do something totally different, something out of your comfort zone, and it's pushing you forward. So when you think of fear, don't think of it as your enemy, think of it as your friend. It is your guide telling you, Christina, Kelly, anyone else who's on here, you are about to undergo some growth that's going to push you forward in your life to the next step of where you need to be. That's all it's telling you. You got to push past that. And my goodness, man, It feels so good when you like conquer fear. When you push past that and you conquer it and you're like, yes, it is so good.
Oh,
So
that's amazing. I just
if
want
you
to
feel,
share, I was going to say, I want
yeah,
to share
yeah.
something. Just a couple days ago, I put a post out there, I think on the Coffee and Confidence group, and said, if it scares you and excites you at the same time, you should totally do it. Like, it's something that you should totally do. And I was sharing
Yes.
earlier about like me singing. Honestly, I would love to do an open mic because it scares me, but yet it excites me. So, right. So which am I going to let win, the fear or the excitement? But I was like, yeah, I can so relate to that, right? So it's important to push past those fears because that's the only way you're going to break down those barriers and create
It's
new
so
results.
important.
Yeah.
So important. I love that.
Yeah.
So yeah, so guys, that is my technique. I know I had so many other things that I could have, but that if I could share anything that was most valuable and relevant to the power of belief, it would be the visualization. So getting super clear on your goal, having your goal posted, spending daily time with your goal and the feelings associated with accomplishing it, giving thanks, and then most importantly, taking that action. I'm telling you, you will accomplish your goal. Without a doubt.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how long it'll take, but you will accomplish it.
Yeah, that's amazing. And that power of visualization is used with Olympic athletes. It's used with like billionaires and top like people of like ginormous companies. Right? It's huge. I was trying to remember this story. I can't remember all the specific details of it, but there's a story of an Olympian. I can't remember if it was like a runner or an Olympic speed skater, but the visualization, they visualize themselves like running the race or doing the course, but yet they never actually visualize themselves crossing the finish line. And what happened on the big day, I kind of think it was power skating. And I think that, that person ended up falling and they did not finish
Oh, wow.
the event.
Wow.
So that just goes to show that
It's
visualization is super powerful. I mean, it doesn't matter if you're a stay-at-home mom. It doesn't matter if you're an athlete, an Olympic athlete, a business owner. That's a very, very powerful technique that you shared with us today. Thank you so much.
Oh, my pleasure. Yeah. And you literally can apply it to anything, anything.
Yeah. There's a couple comments that came in when you were sharing your, the steps with people that I want to acknowledge. So Christina says, I recently went on stress leave because I felt like my whole world was falling apart. Taking this time for myself has done a great deal on having a healthy mind. I feel refreshed and ready to take on the world. Yes, that's really important to acknowledge when we're feeling a little overwhelmed, right? I call it the big reset button. So if you need to take that time just to totally reset, it's absolutely worth it. Earlier, Stephanie says truth. Yep, that's truth. And couldn't agree more with you on all of this, Whitley. Thanks so much for sharing your knowledge, Whitley, and thanks so much, Stephanie, for tuning in. And Sadhana says, action is the prescription for your success. It is. If you watch all of like the top coaches, that's what they say. Action, action, action is, that's the key. So there you have it. Do you have any other things that you want to share with our viewers before we get going?
Yes, well, I would like to share the SCIPLE network community with them, if that would be okay, Kelly.
Absolutely. Well, that was going to be my next thing. Like, how can people get in touch with you? What do you have going on? Yeah.
So, was it Christine or was it Stephanie? I think it was Stephanie who said she was taking some time off of work.
Oh, Christina.
So Christina, first of all, honey, I just want to take a moment and celebrate you because when you are feeling like you need to take a time out, when you need to take, a step back and just reassess where you are and where you want to be, I want to celebrate you because most times we just continue to go, 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 go. And it's really, really so unhealthy for our minds, our bodies, and everything. And so I just want to like celebrate you for recognizing that and taking the time to just get back to yourself. And I wish you the best of luck. And if you have any questions at all, honey, please feel free to reach out. I'm wishing you the best of luck, though, with getting grounded and back to what it is, whatever it is that you love doing. I can relate to that because I had to take some time off of work back a little while ago as well. The other girls that I wanted to mention, and I say girls because it's a network for women. I started up the SCIPLE network for women back 2.5 years ago, and it's a space for women to really grow and support one another. But more importantly, I see that there are so many women, even like mothers, who are trying to start their own business and to, have more freedom over their lives and their schedules, to be at home with their kids and just to be more in the driver's seat of their life. And so a lot of entrepreneurs have flowed in and have gravitated towards SCIPLE. And so my mission is to create this space as a place for female entrepreneurs who have a message they want to share with the world. And so it goes a little deeper than just business, but it goes deep into having a business, having a message that is purposeful, and also living a life that you love. And so the SCIPLE network is continuously growing, and we do have a free Facebook group, which is the SCIPLE network community. Maybe I could share that link in the comments with all of you later. Yeah. And then we also have the SCIPLE Facebook page. And then if you wanted to check out more of what we do and what we offer, you could go to www.sciple.ca. So that's SCIPLE. It's an acronym. It stands for a whole lot of inspiring and inspirational words. You guys can check it out later. But yeah, I think that's pretty much everything, Kelly. Thank you so much. This was such a treat.
Yeah. Well, that's amazing. Thank you for being here. And, I want to encourage everybody watching, whether live or on the replay, to reach out, send a friend request to Whitley. Definitely check out the SCIPLE network community. Let's just all lift each other up and empower one another so that we can grow in confidence and have a little fun along the way. Yeah.
Love it.
So that's amazing. And yes, please leave all the links to, your group, your Facebook page in the comments once we're done. So that's it. And before I go, I want to let people know about the next show. So if you've enjoyed this episode of the Coffee and Confidence, it is a weekly show Thursday mornings. So next week on the show, which is the 18th of October at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time, I have guest an awesome colleague. She's very much doing the same kind of line of work that I'm doing. So next week I have Laura McPhee. So Laura is a happiness coach, and healer who's empowering women to truly love themselves, to fill their own cup, and to be the change. So that's next week, October 18th, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. Tune in to watch Laura and I discuss some amazing things. So that's a little bit of a surprise for you guys. And again, thank you so much, Whitley, for being here and sharing your valuable knowledge. So, I want to see people out there. I would love to, invite you guys to leave your visions. Like, when you go through the exercise that Whitley, the steps that Whitley did, leave it, share it. Share it with us so that we can, help encourage you and empower you to do that, because I think sharing is really important as well. Mm-hmm. So there you go. That's it for today's show. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you next week on episode 17. Bye, guys.